Hi guys, Jill here. Let me see if I still know how to do this. I have not made a video in at least 9 months when I look at YouTube, and it is what it is. Hey, we're all doing what we can do to get through each day, each month, this weird year. And I thought to try and break back into doing some videos, I would do a quick journal flip. Linda C. requested that, and I thought, well, that's a good idea. That's a way to break back in. Right about here, I will insert a photo of my journals from the last 3 years. You'll see I have 1 year I did Jane Davenport journals, 1 year I did Strathmore journals, both mixed media and watercolor, and this year I did 2 Ranger Dylusions journals. So I'm not going to bore you with an entire year of journal flip, but let me do the last 6 months, and then the next one maybe I'll do the 6 months before that, and maybe then I can get back into making some more videos. So here, these journals were okay. They took a beating. They're really chunky and bent and battered, and I haven't painted or decorated the outside, and I don't think I will. I'm not sure. So let me check. Am I in? Okay, let me make sure I'm in the screen. Huh? I'm pretty rusty, guys. All right. So the front of these journals, have a pocket, and I collaged a bunch of stuff on the pocket, and inside is some memorabilia, and sadly enough, these are theater tickets of all the canceled live theater we missed. Oh, that's so sad. Oh, that was just in there because I keep stuff in the front pocket during the months that I'm working on it, like stencils and cards and ephemera. Now, this page here, let me read this. This is the year that I fell in love with antique sewing machines. Thank you, Laura Kay, for this beautiful image and for knowing that I would love it. This is a painting of a woman, an older woman, in her fuzzy slippers working on an industrial Singer sewing machine. She's working at night. It looks alone with a lamp, and she's practicing her craft, and I hope making a living. And I don't know, this image is just beautiful. I've spent a lot of time this year, instead of making art, renovating antique sewing machines, restoring them, sewing on them, making bags, making reusable marking bags, obviously making a lot of masks to keep us all safe. So this page here is a lot of that kind of memories for me. I have traditionally used these journals as planners, but I find that this year there was not a lot to write. I don't go anywhere except to work, to doctor's appointments, not even many of those. We did take a few vacations where we were able to isolate and stay in units that didn't have any contact with anybody else. But I digress. I'm going to try and go fast here, guys. I don't want to be boring. My nails are a wreck. My hands are a wreck. I don't have a nice haircut. But you know what? I'm safe, and I'm COVID-free, and I'm happy creating. So, going back to July, this was a page done with an Elegant Writer. I tried to, I didn't bring an Elegant Writer, but you guys can look that up. These were the Indian pipe mushrooms that when we went on our daily walk in our local park, we were keeping track of the Indian pipes, and they're beautiful. So that's what that page was about. This page was a little too much drama, The basic fabric of this world is changing. That's what I felt like that day. A little too much drama, but if nothing else, things are changing. Here's just a page. I love circles, and this is my favorite pen, TWSBI. I love fountain pens, but the TWSBI Eco has become my favorite pen, and this brown ink is my favorite ink. You'll see me go back to that over and over in these pages. Some simple watercolor, graphite, journaling. This was Christy Sobolewski's. I'm going to check one more time. Am I in the screen? Yes, I am. Christy Sobolewski's Gulf Sprite dolls. And some collage, some ephemera from my beautiful daughter-in-law, stuff I'm trying to use up. This is also inspired by Christy. She did these series of pages where she had ephemera across the top of the page, more Gulf Sprite dolls, a lot of doodling, a little mockingbird added there. Back to that brown Twisby. I believe these were done out of my head with no reference images, and you can tell they're kind of wonky, but it was fun. Watercolor, doodles on top, a girl's face, some graphite, a little bit of doodling, a die cut. This page is kind of plain and boring, huh? Pardon my sniffles. It's very cold here. This is watercolor, some doodling. I love these. These were inspired by Christy as well. And these little fishes. I learned from Christy to paint a face where you leave the one side unpainted. But the comment I made actually at work one day is that, like, people all nibble little pieces away at me. And so I went ahead and drew these fish to express that in my journal. Yes, they all take little pieces of me. Regularly, I go back to this repetitive line work. I find it very meditative and gratifying, and I love the way it looks when it's done. But then, online, I discovered Norographic art. Norographic art is lines, you make lines, and it's meditative, and there's a whole science behind it if you want to look it up and see what it's about. You go back, this is my favorite pen to use, but I did do a lot of this with this set of Super Black. I believe I got it Jerry's Artorama, because there are all these different size markers, and you can see the different size lines here. But you go back in, and everywhere a line connects, you round out the sharp edges. And if you look it up, it's interesting. You might want to read about it. It's about changing our thoughts, softening our hard ideas. I'm not expressing that very well. If you look it up, you might find it's for you. You'll see a lot of this through the rest of my journal, and I probably will use it in a lot of my art from here on in. So I took this first try at Norographic art with markers and colored pencil, and I thought, well, let me try it in a face. And how cool is she? I put it all in her face and these flowers, and this looks like a lot of work. You'd be surprised how fast it goes. We were on vacation down in Ocean City. My beautiful friend Nancy let me use her home down the shore, and we were playing cards on the porch by the beach. And here are playing cards and my version of waves and watercolor. This was just loose Norographic art, and I feel like I ruined it with the colored pencils, but that's all a learning experience. I don't like the colored pencil on there. This was a big Norographic art, and it was just tedious. I started with the colored pencil. I couldn't take it anymore. I let it stop. It's done. This is Norographic art with circles. It's very organic. I like that. Here is a very simple girl's face with Norographic art in her hair and some journaling. This was a girl I had taken out of one of the People magazines that was on the coffee table that my friend Nancy left for me, and doodling in her hair. I follow some like sketchbook school where they do a lot of line and wash art, and I always think it's charming and it's wonderful, and then I do it and I'm like, oh, you know, this just doesn't work for me. But I sat on the porch at Nancy's house, and these are the homes across the street from me in Ocean City, New Jersey. And you know what? That did turn out kind of charming. This is a memory of me from my vacation that day and what I was looking at in the blue skies. The beach is right back here. And that's good. I like it. It's different for me. It's outside of the box. These are cutouts from a magazine. We were at the beach, obviously. This is a cutout also from a magazine. That's Jennifer Lawrence, and I painted it over. I changed her hair. Here's some Norographic art that kind of just creates a scene. This was a lesson from Christy Sobolewski, Gulf Sprite. I believe Cascading Flowers it was called. but it's beautiful. It was painting and letting the paint drip and using her stencil, and I love this page. It's beautiful. Thank you, Christy. This was a page, believe it or not, that I had done neurographic art with Sharpies under here, and I hated it. So I gessoed it over. Some of it shows through. And I had some sort of, I think we had got a music player at work that had a piece of cardboard in it in the shape of a CD that I pulled out. And I find those kind of pieces of cardboard and stuff, and I like to use it to create shapes. So I created all those shapes and doodled and left it. When I was getting ready to make this video, I'm like, this page is too boring. I can't leave it like this. This whole side was empty. It was just the circles. This side was just the doodling. This piece of ephemera fell out of a pile, and I was like, I'm going to stick that on that page. So I glued that down. I got out my hot pink paint and painted this side and the circles, added doodling and journaling, and look, it's a really cool page. I really like it. I went from a page that I couldn't bear to look at, couldn't bear to finish, and it's pretty cool. So never give up. You can always go back months and months and months later and touch a page up. It's all good. I started Inktober. This was Fish and Wisp and Bulky. I've done Inktober before and really enjoyed it, but I started this year and then I heard about all the controversy and all the people that weren't doing it, and it took the wind out of my sails, and I didn't continue. I did 3 days of Inktober and that was it. This is a page with acrylic paints and Posca pen. I'm sure it was this big Posca, not the little one. I really like the white highlights on there. And once again, that's Christie's Chrysanthemum stencil, one of my favorites. More neurographic art. I started with loose watercolor and spattering and lines and added some doodling, and I really like that. This page was another boring one. I did red colored pencil and orange colored pencil, some watercolor, these flowers, and that's all that was there. And every time I looked at it, I thought, oh my gosh, how boring is that page? But getting ready for this video, I went back with some ink and some journaling, and now it kind of all comes together, and I'm okay with it. Not my favorite page, but it'll do. Some days, especially this year, I just don't know what to do in my journal. I'm kind of stuck, I'm kind of unmotivated. So this day I used, I believe it was this Uniball pen, left hand only, no pencil. And then this one was right hand, timed. I only had a very short amount of time, a couple of minutes, no pencil. I used reference images, and it was a fun exercise. And it's all good. It keeps me going, keeps me doing something. This was a live stream with Christy on Halloween. She was using a spider web stencil, and I did not have one. So I painted this girl, and I doodled these spider webs and painted these pumpkins, and it was fun. I got to spend the evening on Halloween with my art community. This is a pencil sketch of my beautiful great niece. It's not an exact likeness, but her picture was on Facebook, and I stole it because she's beautiful, and it was a good face to sketch. This was a stamp I saw on Pinterest that I liked, so I did watercolor and doodling. I like that. It's pretty. I decided to redo the second half of this video because my journal had been getting outside of the frame of the picture, and it was really bugging me, and I didn't want to post it that way. Although I hate redoing videos, it's such a waste of time. I'm also going to try and talk less. That video is too long. So here we go. We were in the Poconos. We went to Shawnee Craft Brewing. I like to save stickers as souvenirs, but I really enjoyed the TV series on Netflix, The Queen's Gambit. And every time I saw the main character, I thought she looked like one of Christie's Golf Sprite dolls. I just couldn't help it, so I had to. This is not an exact picture of her. It's out of my head, but it's my nod to her and my page. And this page is with these 3 Dina Wakley media paints. I got them for practically nothing because they were on clearance and I had a coupon, and I find I really like them. They're the only Dina Wakley paints I have, but they're real transparent. They're real matte. They don't stick. The pages don't stick. I like the feel of them, so I might be looking into more of that paint. So you'll see a lot of those 3 colors as we go along. It's magenta, cheddar, and turquoise. She also had a white gesso in there. So, just a bunch of collage. This is black India ink, stencils. Those are those same 3 colors of paint again, with some stamps, with a big Ranger pad, some Posca pens, some journaling. 2 color, this is cheap acrylic paint, acrylic craft paint, sorry about that. The orange and blue make a lot of brown, but I'm okay with that. Posca pen on top. This page was strips of map glued down. Boy, am I going to have to start over again? A long time ago, Christy had made a suggestion that when you had spare time, and I do at work at my dinner hour at my desk, to grab a book page or a scrap and make faces and put them aside for later when you don't feel like drawing a face. I did these 2 faces probably 2 years ago. Year ago? I don't know. But I pulled her out and stuck her on, and then I pulled out an old piece of painted, heavy, it must have been watercolor paper. I cut them into inchies. I used some of the pink paint from the back on her face to make it cohesive, and then I went around it all with a black glaze pen, and I love that page. Look how that color pops against the pink. I'm going to use this in another page soon, although look how cool that would have been to double layer them. So anyway, these were rewards from Christy Sobolewski for being a patron. And I found them, I was destashing, and they were in a pile of stuff, and I thought, what a waste. So I decided to put them in my journal and continue them out. So I stuck this beautiful face on here and gave her the rest of her hair and her body. And this one, I replicated what Christy had into the background, and that was a fun exercise. I got the colors as close as I could. The pink didn't really work. I used a metallic pen to continue her dots, and I love this. Thank you, Christy. More just pastel pencil sketching. This was my Christmas project. I got into gnomes. I put some gnomes out in the front yard. My husband made wooden ones and I painted them, and I felt like making a row of cute little Scandinavian type gnomes. This was trying to use these pens, which I've never really gotten into much. They're watercolor pens. It's a huge set. I was experimenting to see how they worked with water and patterning. Used some of the same pen over here. Tried to make a different face for me outside of the box. Same pens, working on patterning. This was tedious, doing this great big, and her face is extremely bright. It almost looks like highlighter art. A little bit of watercolor came through from another page. Oh well. A whole bunch of collage. There's a doily under here. That's why her face is so round. I was kind of painting inside of that doily. Old picture of myself I just didn't want to throw out, so I stuck it in there. A lot of this collage came from Laura Kay. It's funny how we have so much stuff of our own, but then someone else sends you a nice package, and it inspires me to use someone else's stuff that they sent. You'll see more. There's even more of Laura Kay's stuff in here. Another neurographic art and watercolor. Some more sketching, working on 3/4 faces with a chalk pencil. Some more. These were using reference pictures off of Pinterest. I don't like a lot of those faces, but it was all practice. A gouache study of a 3/4 face, and this day, obviously, I didn't know what to do. I was going to paint over her. I stuck her on, doodled around it, left it. It's okay. This is all from Laura Kay, all of this ephemera. And then I used a mask. It was a Christy Patreon lesson. And you've seen me use this mask before in one of my own videos, so I pulled it back out and got use of it again. Very cool. Laura Kay also sent me this bouquet cutout that I just knew is meant to be hair, and these little birds she had cut out, and this ledger, this antique ledger. So and the napkin is hers too. So I put it all together, created a scene. If I had not already done this page, I would have liked to have cut her out here, the whole page, and had it a shaped page. But I already had done this page. I just another day I didn't know what to do. I slapped down some liquid watercolor, sky and grass. I was intending to do like a scene. I ended up sticking a book page on and doing this neurographic art on top, and I like it. It's beautiful. You never know where it's going to go. I've been vaccinated. I didn't get my vaccine here. I got my vaccine at work. I'm getting my second dose next week, and I'm really grateful for that. Some chalk study, and the last page of my book, my stencils came in. I got a 6-pack of stencils from Christy that I purchased, and I'm trying them out. They're sticking together here, but here's my stencils. Aren't they cool? Look at that. And it came in a really good deal off of her Etsy shop. You'll have to check it out with some original art. So I checked out the stencils. I used a fountain pen for the face and the line work, and then I pulled out, I haven't used any of these in a long time, but I thought these 3 colors pretty well matched those paint colors. So I did some blended line work in her hair. My poor calendars, which my next set next year I'm not even going to bother with. Look, December I didn't even write anything down. We're still isolating. We're still not going anywhere. We're still not doing much. Cut this out of a magazine. Winter is here. And that's it. I'm glad I was able to shorten that down a little bit. Now, looking back at the video, this cover looks really grubby. They get dirty in use, so I'm going to have to paint this in some sort of way. Maybe I'll do a video on that, or maybe I'll just paint it one straight color. I don't know. So, it's good to be back. I'm going to work on an art video next of some sort. I hope you're all well and safe, and I will see you again soon.